Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very senior professional from the world of finance with a passion for health from Mumbai, India, Mr. Prashant Desai. Prashant, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh, and welcome to all your viewers as well.
Thank you. Prashant is a health educator, and he has a mission to make your next 5 years your best. And when he has a little free time, he is the managing director of Everstone, which is a private investment manager. So, Prashant, my first question, your personal health journey, and you mentioned in what you sent to me was the loss of your father and your brother, is deeply rooted in loss and determination. How did your mindset evolve from fear to empowerment?
I think a lot of that, Ashutosh, had to do with my daughters. And very interesting you asked this, because when I lost my father in 1979, that incident actually made me unhealthy. Because the narrative that was fed to me, I was 7 years old, and I had a lot of questions as to why did my father die. And because I come from a Jain family, I was told that death is destiny. When you are born, there is a God, that God tells you when he will take you away, so on and so forth. And the way as a child I took it is, okay, one life, God is going to decide, so let's go overboard with everything. And when I started making money, I started overeating, in a sense that from what I was, I became almost 92 kgs. And then in 2014, I lost my best friend, my brother. He was just 35. Two deaths, but the second death had a very different, profound impact. By which time, obviously, one had become a lot more wiser, one had learned a lot. And that time I realized that I need to now live longer for both my daughters. Not just live longer, but live healthier and disease-free. And because I fundamentally lost my father very early on, I'm not a very religious person. So my anchor became science. And that's where my journey to understand why we humans age at a cellular level began, and what all can we do to kind of, slow down aging, as a result, delay diseases and death kind of started. So yes, that personal tragedy led me on this path.
Thank you for sharing your own journey. Thank you. You also talk about prevention over treatment. What was the pivotal moment when you realized you needed to take full control of your health?
This has been again a lot of education. One Dr. Peter Attia talks about this is medicine 2.0 versus medicine 3.0. And when you look into today's world, which and especially India, the highest number of diabetic, highest number of obese people, almost 100 crore Indians today have hypertension. And I say blood pressure is a silent killer. And if you actually double click behind each of these, you will see there are lifestyle reasons behind this. The challenge is because of lack of education in our country, because we don't pay attention, and because the doctors and the hospitals are incentivized to treat but not to prevent. This education impartment does not happen. Pick up a MBBS books. You will see there is only one chapter dedicated to nutrition. There is nothing dedicated to sleep. Exercise does not come. You go to your doctor will never ask you how much did you sleep, how much do you exercise, what is your stress level. And the whole point, therefore, being that you are the CEO of your health. When it comes to landing your health plane safely, there is no pilot. You will need to do that. And the only way to do that is to kind of take control of your health by preventing or delaying these diseases. Make no mistake, we are all going to die. We are all going to die because one or the other disease will hit us. The point being, do you want to die later? Do you want to die early? Number one. Number two, when you inherit certain diseases, it massively impacts your quality of life. Hence, my point being, I don't mind dying at 65, 70, 75. But whatever time I have on Mother Earth, I want to thrive. I don't want to survive.
Correct.
And hence, this is where prevention plays a very, very critical role. What I call is, we are now in the era of personalized prevention or medicine called medicine 3.0.
Very interesting. And I'm older than you, and we've often discussed this, that I don't, we all know we have to die, as you said very correctly, but I don't ever want to be dependent on anyone to be able to lead my daily life. But let's now talk about nutrition, fitness, sleep, and exercise. And you just touched on some of these. Many young people, Prashant, are overwhelmed by nutrition advice. What are the biggest myths you see about food and health?
Loads and loads of them. You and I can do a 24-hour podcast on that.
I
But
know.
the big myths, I'll tell you where they stem from. The fact is the fact that I'm a very big believer of evolution, right?
Mm,
Homo sapiens came 3,20,000 years ago.
mm,
And, right through, we've existed because we've eaten.
mm,
And evolution plays a very interesting role. What does not work, it discards. What works, it retains. And because our ancient wisdom is 3,20,000 years ago, there
mm,
are things that have worked for people and there are things that have not worked for people. And I
mm,
often say this, that when you come to the world of nutrition,
mm,
the data is so poor, yet our conviction is very high. You will
mm,
often hear people say food is medicine. Food is not medicine, guys,
mm,
because a medicine goes through very critical processes of regulation. They are tested in animals, they are tested in monkeys, they are then tested in animals. If they work, the FDA gives you permission to launch them. In food, that does not happen. And
mm,
because it does not happen in food, because you actually cannot do it in food, it's very
mm,
easy to control a mice, but very difficult to control a human. All
mm,
these misconceptions come. For me, the very big misconception that I have come across is number one, we don't know the importance of protein.
mm.
Protein, in my view, is the single most important macronutrient.
Right.
It's the unsung hero of the nutritional world. The reason is because, unlike the two other macros, which is carbs and fat, excess protein cannot be stored by your body. It will get secreted. And number two, when you eat more protein, you
Mm,
feel a lot more satiated. So when
mm,
I look at nutrition, I look at through the lens, are you overnourished or are you undernourished?
mm,
I think most of the world is overnourished and undermuscled,
mm.
in which protein becomes your friend, but there are a lot of misconception of protein. You
Right.
need to eat at least 1.6 grams of protein per kg of your body weight,
Mm,
which means you will need to distribute this protein across 3 or 4 meals.
mm,
Have 30 to 40 grams of protein, which is where I believe a protein powder can be a very big friend. But
mm,
then you have people like Ashutosh Khurana who says one protein shake takes 3 years to digest. All these claims kind of come, and you
mm,
then avoid making protein powder your friend.
mm.
Second thing which I am known for in the world of nutrition is that there is no better fat in the world than ghee.
Right.
We've grown up consuming ghee,
Mm,
but because the West started talking about saturated fat is bad, and unfortunately ghee is a saturated fat,
mm,
we started believing in the Western philosophy. We started giving up on ghee. The
mm,
oil marketing companies came, they started putting the picture of a heart on oil,
mm,
and they said this is good for your heart, good for your health. We gave up the biggest superfood that India has given to the world,
mm.
ghee. So I think there are a lot of misconceptions
Very
around ghee.
interesting.
The third misconception, in my view, is
Mm,
that we all uh, forget the basic of physics, the law of thermodynamics.
mm,
Energy can neither be created nor can be destroyed.
mm.
If you are putting on weight, there is only one reason. You are meeting more than what your body can burn.
Absolutely right.
At which point of time you will, the mass needs to get stored somewhere, right? And our body will store this in the form of fat.
Mm,
Your liver and your muscle can only store about 500 grams of glucose as glycogen.
mm,
Rest, all the glucose will get converted into fat, all the extra fat will get converted into fat.
mm,
We don't pay attention to the fact. We always blame something or the other. So I think in the world of nutrition, I just feel that your best friend is your protein, which we are completely unaware of. Your
mm,
second best friend is fat or good fat like ghee. Then comes your carb. And
mm,
the last thing is where I think our government has also done a massive disservice is by not regulating sugar.
mm,
This morning, Ashutosh, there is an advertisement in Hindustan Times where a fruit juice company is putting a fruit juice and next to it, it is putting cola. And it is saying that the cola contains a lot more added sugar than fruit juice, which is technically correct because
mm,
our regulator FSSAI says that your recommended dietary allowance of sugar is basis added sugar.
mm,
They don't focus on the word sugar, they focus on the
mm.
word added sugar,
Added sugar.
complete connivance. Now,
Mm,
as a result of this, when a mother picks up the pack and looks at the back nutrition, she will see, oh, this only has 7% added sugar. But it does not have 7% added sugar. It has almost 50% sugar. But
mm,
we ignore that. So there has been this massive under-reporting of consumption of sugar from a
Hmm.
regulatory standpoint because of this RD. As a result of this, when we were in 1947, on average, an Indian consumed 6 grams of sugar per day,
Hmm.
which is 1 teaspoon. Today, we are consuming 60 grams of sugar per day on average.
Hmm.
Mind you, urban India is consuming maybe 100 grams or more. So I
Right.
guess the fourth piece I want to talk from a nutritional standpoint is sugar, which is a very, very bad substance, which is a very addictive substance,
Hmm.
has been marketed or has been hidden and marketed through a lens which does not make you realize how much sugar you are eating.
Hmm.
Again, a very big myth in the world of nutrition.
Fascinating. Great response. You also talk, and one more question relating to food, and then I want to move to sleep. You advocate for eating less often. Can you explain the science behind this and how does it impact longevity?
Right. So I always say that the biggest enemy of Indian is the 4 to 6 p.m. bracket. You start reasonably well, right? You had your reasonable breakfast, lunch is decent. The moment your sun starts going down at 4, 5 o'clock, you start feeling very hungry, which is when you go and start snacking.
Hmm.
Now, if you look at our dadis and nanis, they would eat 3 meals a day, proper meals, they were very good. Unfortunately, today, three things: affordability, accessibility, and velocity or variety. In the world of packaged food has become so high that
Hmm.
it's very difficult for you to walk down a street and not meet with some kind of a food that is enticing you to eat,
Hmm.
and also is very, very cheap, comes in a lot of varieties. You end up picking up something, right? And the human body is such that you don't feel its impact immediately, and hence you think, yeah, 8 packet chips khali, how does it
Yeah.
matter? I've had one Coke, how does it matter?
Hmm.
Now, snacking has now gone into our lives. From eating 3 meals today, we are on average eating 7 to 8 meals.
Hmm.
What this does from the lens of science is, I used to wear a glucose monitor and we track something called as glucose variability. So what happens is that you want to keep the variability of glucose much lesser.
Hmm.
Every time there is a glucose spike, the pancreas need to make insulin to ensure that that excess glucose from your
Yeah.
bloodstream, what your doctor measures to tell you whether you are diabetic or not, is removed. Because
Hmm.
if that excess glucose remains, it will glycate the hemoglobin cells or the red blood cell, which releases oxidative stress,
Hmm.
which weakens your endothelial layer, and that blood vessel reaches all part of your body. Body
Hmm.
doesn't want to die, so it converts that excess into fat. Now, from that lens, if you see, I want to reduce the spikes. The second problem is if there is a spike, insulin comes, there will be a crash. The moment there is a crash, you will again feel very hungry. You will again go and eat something. So,
Hmm.
from the lens of science, when I say eat less often, I'm saying eat 2 or 3 meals a day, have whole foods, have more protein, more fats, which is essentially in the form of ghee. You will remain a lot more fuller so
Hmm.
that you will not snack often. So I
Right.
think India's biggest enemy is snacking, which is why
Hmm.
I say eat less often.
Fascinating. Thank you. You also talk about the need for exercise. How does exercise impact long-term cognitive health and disease prevention? And a follow-up question, what happens to young people who struggle to exercise?
So here, when I started studying a lot more about preventive protocol, one thing that came to light was there is no powerful intervention than exercise.
Hmm.
Why do I say that? Once you correct your sleep, there is no ROI. Once you correct your nutrition, there is no incremental ROI. Exercise is one intervention where there is no dose response curve. It keeps going up and up.
Hmm.
Even if I tell people, even if exercise were to take 5 years out of your life, I will still want everybody to exercise because the quality of life just goes through the roof. When
Correct.
I look at exercise, I look at through two lenses. One is what I call as cardio exercise,
Hmm.
which is great for your heart and great for your lungs.
Hmm.
And here is where I tell people you need to do at least 2 to 3 hours of what I call zone two, long distance, slow walk, where your heart rate is in zone two,
Hmm.
and one day of HIIT, which includes your peak aerobic capacity. Look at it in the form of a triangle. You
Hmm.
want a very long base and you want a very high peak, and that's where the area under the triangle is high cardio.
Hmm.
Very important.
Hmm.
But I will not say only do cardio. If you have to choose between cardio and lifting weights, I will say lift weights. Why? Because muscle is an organ of longevity. A lot of us don't know that muscle is an endocrine organ.
Mm.
When you are when you are adequately muscled or over muscled, you have a much more bigger reservoir to store your glucose. You will be less diabetic. Also, your muscle mass, muscle strength, and muscle power massively declines after 30. All you can do is slow down this. In our world, we call this sarcopenia. But as you grow older after 35, after 45, if you don't have enough muscle mass, muscle strength, muscle power, as exactly what you said, Ashutosh, you will lose freedom. You will be dependent on somebody. You won't be able to open that jar of water or jam or whatever, because this is grip strength. Grip strength is an organ of longevity. By grip strength, you can predict how long will you live, how well you will live.
Wow.
You won't be able to take the stairs up. You won't be able to climb down. You want to travel, you can't pick up your luggage and put it on the overhead compartment. So I just feel that everybody must lift weight, because without that, your quality of life is going to massively suffer. Great question. Why doesn't youth today do that? I think the youth is today so involved in gadgets and media that they have forgotten when we were growing up, because these were not there. The best thing that we used to do coming back from school was play. So I just again feel it's education, education, education. If you look at the youth, they have the biggest opportunity, and I'm using your podcast to talk to them. The reason being, you can grow muscle mass, muscle strength, muscle power till the age of 25 to 30. That's your peak period. That same protein that you ingest, that you and I will ingest, will give you far higher return on capital employed or return on protein employed compared to me in terms of building your muscle, because your muscle protein synthesis is much, much higher in your youth. Mind you, once you build this, then the decline is going to start. Second thing, to the youth, I want to tell them it is all about habits. It's very difficult for you to exercise and then go and have a pani puri, have a Starbucks. Your body won't allow you to do that because the endorphins are very, very high. But you also pick up habit to play a sport, habit to run, habit to lift weights. I just feel that as we grow older, it is our habits that define us. That's what I keep telling people. You create habits and then habits create you.
Correct.
I think the youth, because of this whole overall, world of social media, they don't have time. And I think it can't be so difficult. We have 168 hours in a week. And you can 168 hours, you can take out 1 or 2 hours a week to do exercise. It's not very difficult.
Absolutely.
And it's not that I would say that all youth don't exercise. When I go to the gym, I see there are enough youth, especially women who are exercising, and hats off to them.
I agree. So, Prashant, we've spoken about nutrition, we've spoken about exercise. The third major element for our wellness is sleep. And sleep is often overlooked in health discussions. And you mentioned this, that even, MBBS books don't have any discussion on sleep. Why is sleep such a critical pillar for longevity?
So first, this is one area where I will disagree with you, Ashutosh. Sleep does not come after nutrition and exercise.
I said one of the three pillars, I said. Exactly. I said, we've spoken about these two already. And this is
you are right. You are right that way. But when I talk to people, I say sleep is not the third pillar. I say sleep is the foundation on which these two pillars
I stand correct. Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you are not sleeping well, it doesn't matter how well you are fueling. It doesn't matter how much you are exercising. You will ingrain a lot of diseases.
Right.
The reason for that is, if you remember, there is a reason, Ashutosh, that after 16 hours of wakefulness, Mother Nature puts all living things to sleep, not just humans. But unfortunately, we humans are the only species that take pride in undersleeping.
Right.
I will sleep when I die. No, bhai, sleep or you will die. Look at a lot of corporates. If you have done an all-nighter, everybody will clap. You come and say that I slept for 9 hours, you are branded as you are lazy. So sleep has an image issue. Sleep has a societal challenge which we need to change. Because I'll give you some very simple example. If you are only undersleeping by say 1 to 2 hours every night for a period of only 2 weeks, and there was a study that was done, you will turn from normal into diabetic in 2 weeks' time, right? If you undersleep, next day you will eat 500 calories more. When you sleep, in your deep sleep, which is your first phase of sleep, your entire immunity system gets reboost. If people are falling ill, what happens? You will see them sleeping more. That was Mother Nature's way of rebooting your immunity so that you could fight that illness. If you are depressed, which is the first medication your doctor or your therapist will give you? Sleeping pill. Sleeping pill is Mother Nature's balm for all your trauma. In the olden days, you went for a hunt and animals scratched you or beat you very badly. If you don't go back to hunting, your kids will go hungry. So when you sleep in your dream, you overcome this trauma, which is why you go. Dream plays a very important role in our health, in our life. Your entire hormone production, especially sex hormones, 90% of sex hormones are produced when you sleep. Today, why does the world have this big under-sex epidemic? People are not having enough sex. The quality of sex has come down. Almost 50% of the youth today have erectile dysfunction. The sperm count today is at its all-time low. And all of this is directly correlated to the reason why people are undersleeping. And science has a definition, Ashutosh, of what is a good quality of sleep. And it's an acronym which I have now converted called QCQT, like Qayamat se Qayamat tak. First Q stands for quantity. You need to sleep for 7 to 9 hours minimum. Second is consistency. If Ashutosh is sleeping 1 or 2 nights for 7 to 9 hours, it doesn't work. And sleep debt is one that you cannot repay. Third is quality. You need to be sleeping, not getting up often at night. And fourth is timing. Sleep at the same time every day, wake up at the same time. If you follow this, you will get good quality of sleep. Make no mistake, I will tell your viewers. If you are undersleeping, every single biological function is getting dysregulated. And if you are sleeping, all of that are getting massive.
Oh, amazing.
Just by sleeping well, you will add 5 years to your life.
Amazing. Prashant, I have time for 2 more questions for you. We've spoken about nutrition, fitness, and sleep, not in any particular order of priority. But I've got my time for 2 more questions. And the next question is that with the rise of the use of technology, do you think we will reach a point where we can predict and prevent a lot of the major diseases with precision?
We can already do that today. The reason why we spoke about prevention is because today technology is available for you to do a lot of stuff. But I will caution people also. I always say that technology is like fire. It can actually cook your food or it can burn down your eyes. A lot of people with data get very anxious, very stressed, then don't use data. I track my sleep through Whoop. I track my blood glucose through CGM. I will take all the technology help that I can get. Today, you can predict diabetes 10 years in advance. Today, you can go inside the artery and see what is the level of calcification. You can predict heart attack 10 years in advance. For some reason, if you do get a cause, you can put a stent inside. Technology is increasing. I am waiting for continuous blood pressure monitors to come. They are now available in UK. Soon they will come. So enough technology will come. What does technology do, Ashutosh? Technology only gives you data. I always tell people, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge multiplied by action is equal to power.
Right.
Technology will give you data. What you do with that data will define whether you live longer, disease-free and healthier. Today also, very, very inexpensive test. Get a CBC done, which is complete blood count. Get a complete metabolic panel done. I think in 1,000 rupees, you can get both of them. Get them done every 3 months. You are getting a dashboard of how your health is looking. It's not very difficult.
It's not difficult.
The point is not that. I think I always say that all behavior is belief driven. Believe you can, believe you can't, either ways you are right. Henry Ford said that. Because our belief is such that, we have only one life, live life king size, our behaviors are not changing. The moment you switch that belief to we have only one body, We don't have one life. We have one body. You will start taking care of it. So I just feel that if through data your belief changes, then your behavior will change. And which is why I tell people that death is not destiny. You can delay that. But you have to first believe you can do that. Because if you believe through technology, through data, then your behavior will change.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you. And my last question for you, Prashant. If you could give the young 3 non-negotiable health habits, what would they be?
Number one, always will be don't compromise on your sleep. Right? And important point, you and I are always wrong when we ask our kids to sleep at 8, 9, 10 p.m. No, their circadian rhythm has shifted.
Yeah.
They are their most productive between 10 and 12 p.m. The big battle between parents and youth is parents want them to sleep at 10, they want to sleep at 2. I always tell these parents, you for 1 week try and sleep at 2 a.m. The way you can't sleep because your circadian rhythm has shifted, your kid also can't. So let them sleep at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., but let them sleep for 7 to 9 hours. That is not compromising. Number 2, make exercise your friend, your best friend, your BFF, your BAE. Trust me, your future tomorrow will thank you today. The third message is, please don't smoke, don't vape, and reduce alcohol. These are silent killers. I keep telling people, when the Titanic hit the iceberg, one of the reasons why Titanic hit the iceberg, despite getting 2 warnings 45 minutes back, because the waters were calm. Because the waters were calm, that gave a false sense of security to the captain. He increased the speed. That is where our youth is. Because when you are youth, your mitochondria is functioning so well, you are feeling so good. The waters are so calm, you accelerate. That 1 smoke becomes 2, 3, 5, 10. You are accelerating. That 1 Coke becomes 2, 3, 5. That 1 Red Bull becomes 2, 3, 5. That 1 beer becomes 2, 3, 5. All of this compound over a period of time. And by the time they are 35, 40, you will then start regretting all of that. So to them, I'm saying, if nothing, stop smoking, reduce alcohol to not more than 1 drink or not more than 5 drinks a week. Stop vaping. That's your biggest enemy today. And guys, sleep well. Yeah.
Amazing. And on that note, Prashant, I just want to say this has been such an incredible discussion, so much learning from you. You started off by a very powerful statement, which is that you are the CEO of your own health. And I'm sure all our viewers and listeners will be able to take home this one particular message very powerfully. And then you ended by saying, sleep, there can be no compromise, and you need to have 7 to 9 hours. The circadian rhythm can change. So therefore, as parents, don't force children to follow the same sleep pattern, but the number of hours that the sleep is important. Second, you said exercise is your best friend. Third, you said was don't smoke and reduce your alcohol intake significantly. Thank you so much for speaking to me about your own personal journey. I think we covered some fascinating topics on proteins, on sugar, on the importance of being able to add pure ghee into our diets. And you, of course, spoke about technology, about how data, and I think that's the finance man in you that's coming out, use different forms of data that your body is giving you to be able to manage your own health better. Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Really appreciate having me.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.